Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste experience. It is so good to have you here, and I'm so grateful to be back. And as you know, Mirabai Starr was meant to join us here today, and she may be popping in. She's on a book tour right now with her new book, Ordinary Mysticism. And I personally know how that goes when you're doing multiple interviews in a day every day. It's sometimes hard to keep track, but knowing Mirabai, I know she was very anxious to join us and to be here with us today. So she may very well be popping in. But just in case she didn't, I had something ready. You know, a number of years ago, actually, when at Namaste Village, we have one apartment where Jet and Luis live now. It is the only room that has a bathtub. I had that put there purposefully because if you know anything about me, I love to take hot baths. One of the reasons I love it so much is because it opens up something in me. That energy, that insight, that wisdom is opened and flows effortlessly. And so I would get in the bathtub at that time and I would write a series of lessons called the bathtub lessons. Some of you may remember that. And I saved them all into a particular email box, and I haven't looked at that in years. And I opened it up a few days ago and was just paging through them and realized maybe we should revisit some of these bathtub lessons. And because our session today was meant to be on mysticism, I want to share one that is called the 3 stages of contemplation, or we could say mysticism as well. And once again, Mirabai, if you do happen to be here, if you do pop in, just interrupt me, or if anyone else sees her and I'm talking, just interrupt me and we'll bring her in. So once again, these are the 3 stages of contemplation or mysticism. Number 1, a burning love for God. Number 2, a burning love in God. And number 3, a burning love as God. So for, in, and as. You can probably see that these 3 things map out the journey inward into the experience of knowing I am that. That extension of the love and the loveliness of God is who I am. It's who I've always been. It's who I can't stop being, except perhaps in my imagination. And this is exactly what we've done, is we've imagined an alternative to that which is all encompassing. So once again, a burning love for God, a burning love in God, and a burning love as God. So let me read a little bit of what I wrote a few years ago, and we'll comment on this, and then we'll bring Vicky in. Okay. The contemplative journey begins when you realize that there is nothing in this world that you really want. That's where the contemplative journey begins. It doesn't end there, it begins. Until then, you will seek after an endless number of things which distract you from the one thing you really do want: perfect union with God, love, or ultimate reality. Perfect union. That's what you really do want. And until you realize that there's nothing outside you to distract you from that, you'll never experience the depths of that mystical experience. As long as there's anything between you and your longing for God, you're bound to the world and cannot rise above it. Release only comes when you sever the ties to things one by one, until enough momentum has been created, freeing your soul to long for only one thing: momentum. We've used the analogy before of a rocket ship. A rocket ship needs to have incredible propulsion energy, incredible momentum before it can get enough energy to break free from the gravitational pull of the earth. And it is the same with us. We need to have that same propulsion, that same energy to break free from the gravitational pull of the ego. So once again, that one thing that you really do want, whether you realize that that is what you are longing for or not, union with the divine, union with love itself. Until then, we're just going to distract ourselves with all of these other things that seem to be outside of us. Okay. The heart then begins burning for, here's the first stage, for an experience that at first seems to be somewhere off in the distance. And you realize that the world never gave you what you ever really wanted. Even when a desired goal is within sight, it's snatched away before it can be fully grasped. Realizing this is the first step. Then a new strategy can be designed. You finally realize what you actually do want. You finally realize that what you do want is union with love itself. Distractions fall away effortlessly until you find yourself face to face with the beloved, with love itself. And so this face to face that we're describing, this is what initiates the next step. What is that next step again? A burning love in God. Okay, here we go. As you spend more and more time outside the gravitational pull of the ego, you enter the second stage of contemplation or mysticism, a burning love in God. Maintaining the experience of this union is elusive because you're still subject to the ego's gravity. In other words, until you break free from that gravitational pull, the ego pull always wanting to distract you, you're still subject, and you may fly very high. But the key is not to fly high, but to break free. Okay. Maintaining this experience is elusive. Where was I? You must now be pulled forward by a deeper longing, the longing for God alone, for love alone. You find yourself contained within God, though a sense of separation still may persist, stirring feelings of anxiety because you've approached close enough to feel the heat emanating from the heart of the beloved. I love that. You begin to feel the heat that is emanating from the heart of the beloved. And this can cause some anxiety because you know that this is the only thing you want. You find yourself within that experience, but there's still those separating beliefs that linger, that are still lingering and holding you back from the full experience. You realize that there's nothing in the world that can satisfy you, yet the thought of God and me has not been completely eradicated from your mind. So that was the second stage, a burning love in God. Let's look now at the final stage of contemplation or mysticism, a burning love as God. The closer you come to the throne, to love itself, the greater the anxiousness grows until separation from God is no longer an option. You can't bear it anymore. This leads to the final and greatest surrender. You leave the gravitational pull of the ego altogether and enjoy a permanent state of contemplation or mysticism, a burning desire as God. There's no longer God in me. There's only love itself, the experience of that love. The two have become one, and truth is no longer a concept in the mind, but an experience that can never be described through concepts or words. We've gone beyond all concepts. We've gone beyond all symbols. Remember, words are nothing but symbols of symbols. Therefore, they're twice removed from the truth. And we are being removed step by step, being pulled by grace itself into an experience that is so wholly unlike anything we've ever known in the world of form before, that it's compelling. You know what I mean. Each and every single one of you have experienced this. At the very least, you've experienced these first two stages, a burning love for God, for love itself, for the beloved. You wouldn't be here. And then we begin once again to feel that love being contained within God, within the divine. This is the deep mystical experience. But finally, to be experiencing ourselves as that. I am that. I am. When we've come to this final stage, there's no difference. There's no separation. There's nothing blocking. There's nothing eluding us anymore. This is the only thing that we're really longing for. It's the only thing that will ever satisfy you. So let me check here real quick before I go forward to see if Mirabai has snuck in without me seeing here. If you have, my dear, why don't you go ahead and just let me know? Okay. I'll find out later what happened. I'm sure something blocked her from coming in, but we'll see if we can reschedule her for another day. But of course, we do have our amazing Vicky. So Vicky, I would love to have you and also Calico, if she's here. Let's talk about these three stages together. Once again, a burning love for God, in God, and as God. Take it away.
Thank you. Welcome, Brother James. And we love your little tiny house. And God bless you for driving 1,000 miles a day in 3 days. That was quite a trip to go home. And it's quite lovely to see you at home everywhere you go. And that might be a good way of describing this experience you're talking about. Because when we first have that desire, it's a desire maybe not even for God. It's a desire for more than what is, more than what seems to be around us, more than the appearance of the world falling apart, of separate things. That's enough to crack that shell, that mystic shell, to finally come into looking inside, because outside does not give sustainable answer. There's no sustenance from outside. And when we get that habit to seek ye first the kingdom of looking within, what is it that brings peace? What is it that will solve this situation, this sickness? What is it really about? Not just looking for an outcome, but asking a greater question: what is really going on? And how can I help? What is the real situation that I'm not seeing? Those are the kinds of going within that bring us to some sort of spiritual practice, usually, like the Course in Miracles, Infinite Way, Unity, all kinds of different things. And I do want to say, Johannes did a what the what the disciples were called, they called it the way. We find the way. And the heat, literally, of the way, bringing us deeper, deeper into this experience of not of our own doing, but being done through us. Everything that we do, we learn a way of being in something, but not of it. This is the way. And finally, as now, I don't know how many can speak for as. What I can speak for is coming in and out of that experience of being absorbed as love, in love, and then seeing everything as love, seeing everything, not even just with compassion. It's a little bit different than compassion. It's with awareness of what really is, and realizing the dignity and the respect we want to give to everyone and everything to be exactly as it is, even when it seems despairing, even when it doesn't look like what we think love should look like. When our eyes open with love and an inner that inner connection being kind of settled in us, we become ordinary, we become much more capable of being here in a completely natural way, just being here in and of love. What we become, we just become part of the love, and we find ourselves just going with the flow of everything without um, without without comment, almost without objection. That was the word I wanted. So as we find ourselves in the flow of this, we're experiencing ourselves as it. And I think part of the biggest thing for me has been to recognize the value of that and not think little of it, but recognize, oh my gosh, I'm seeing situations that used to cause me upset, and now I can be with them all as a whole presence of seeing and being love. That's literally a frequency that I know blesses everything into its own natural harmony. And there's no self-consciousness about it. There's no thinking about it. There's just a comfortable being with everything, being love with everything, with a total acceptance of things as they are, a total willingness to know I don't know, but not knowing isn't an interference anymore. It's just part of the grace of allowing everything simply to be as it is and allowing ourselves to be as we are, not striving to, oh, let me make this better, let me do this, let me do that. No, just a full acceptance and a gentleness. And I have to say, James, you gave me great example in your being here for the week, because, to spend a week together is a gift. But your example of slow and naturally in grace and poise, I want to tell you, Brother James, is a rare gift. And it was one of those examples that left me with recognizing, oh, that's what happens. It's not a discipline to slow down. We slow down with poise and grace as an effect of living in love. And that was one of the examples that has really helped me, because I still catch myself fast forward, so I pull back and I just let me go, easy does it.
Nice.
So for and as, I feel like we're collectively in communion coming together in this, the value of doing this together. I cannot emphasize how great it is, because the lights that shine from our mind back and forth to each other are part of that heat that allows this total opening and total excitement. Like, oh my gosh, this is natural peace. Here it is. It's so simple. All I had to do was let love be my response to everything. Okay,
Yes.
Brother James, Calico, I
All
know is
right.
here.
Let me go ahead, and I want to, you may see that I'm in a different room now.
Yes.
The internet in the tiny house suddenly went out, so I popped inside the big house. And I did want to say something that you actually triggered, Vicky. Especially that final stage of being as God. This is something that pops in and out, and each and every single one of us knows this, whether we know that we know it or not. We've experienced this, whether we realize we've experienced it or not. But it is something that is inherent, natural, and, as I'm sure Mirabai would say if she was here, ordinary. That's why I'm going to really try and get her back in here, because I think just the discussion on ordinary mysticism is a fantastic one, because it brings us into the ordinary moment and the realization that this is a natural phenomena. And yet, one thing I thought about when you were sharing, Vicky, is that it's like a magnet. And when you have two magnets, and there's a point at which you can begin to feel the pull. If I have two magnets, I'm holding them closer and closer together, I can feel the pull. The closer I get, the stronger the pull becomes, until you can't resist it. If I have two big magnets, there comes a point where it's close enough where the pull is so strong, I can't even keep them apart. And it's the same thing with us. When we give ourselves completely to the ordinary mystical experience of the moment, then that natural pull, that energy is automatic, is simple, is natural. So before we go on, I'm going to invite Calico, as we do every day, to come and share. And what would you like to share with us this morning in regard to this
Well,
discussion, Calico?
this is great. Thank you so much for starting us off. First of all, God to me is an experience of non-judgmental love. That's all God is. God is not a person or anything. God is just the experience of non-judgmental love. And I really think we're all mystics that have just forgotten who we are, because really we're a loving thought in the mind of God. And that's my definition of mystic. We're a loving thought in the mind of God, and then we start living as a loving thought in the mind of God. And that changes everything. It's the identities that we've grown to love and adorn and, make bigger than big is called the ego. Well, that's just this persona I call Calico. You can call yours whatever you want. It's the ego character. And as I let go of all these distractions, well, Calico loves this, and Calico likes that, and Calico likes this. As I let go of all of that, the Calico character kind of just disappears, and I get to be just that loving thought in the mind of God. And then, in the 60s, and I'll never forget this, I kept thinking, why can't we all just love each other? I had no idea what I was saying, because it's totally doable, but it's not as simple as just loving each other. There's a lot of crap that gets in the way, and all that has to be forgiven and let go of. And that's the process of awakening. And it's not, I will say this, it is not a simple, it's not an easy process. Simple, yes, but it takes a lot of courage to face yourself as an entity that judges. Because as soon as you start seeing you're judging, you want to slip out of it and go, oh, no, I didn't mean that. Well, you've already thought it, so you're judging. And it's kind of like, then it's to go back and really pray into it and see, that's not who I am. That's not who you are, And it's like, I want to live a life that remembers myself as a loving thought in the mind of God, and I see you as the loving thought in the mind of God. And that's what I call a mystic. And I think we're all mystics. We just forgot, and we got into this world of delusion and went, oh, I like this and I like that, and I don't like that, and I don't like that. And it's kind of like, and then we have to go through and unwind all that nonsense to get back to our pure essence, which is, this is the avatar. This is just the body that I'm showing, displaying on screen. But the reality is, I am a loving thought in the mind of God, and that's really all I am. So thank you so much, and it's great to have you back, James.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back. And I want to show you all something or someone. So this is Namaste itself. For those of you who live at Namaste, who know Gracie, Gracie was our original Namaste Village dog. And now she, of course, lives here in Portland, and she is all cuddled up under the blankets and having the life of all lives. Look at her. So I just wanted you all to know that Gracie is still here and Gracie is doing fine. And we've got a couple of minutes left, and I see that Scott is sitting there in the saddle, ready to wrap us up. So Scott, go ahead and take us home.
All right, James. My one burning desire is to be inside the fire that burns everything except love. one single desire is to throw me in the fire, and everything will burn except love. And then my mystic will be ordinary, nothing special here, ripe and delicious like strawberry. Let me be so ordinary that I disappear. I'm ready, there's nothing left to do. I'm ready to burn. There's nothing left to fix. There's nothing left to do except to gently return. I've got a burning desire for only one thing: to give up my likes and dislikes and let the spirit sing. One desire left, and it's simple as can be: burn up everything till there's nothing left of me. Only you, God, I'm in you. Simple, ordinary, grow gratitude. Only you, an all-inclusive club. There's nothing left besides your love.
Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see if we can get Mirabai back on another day, and I will let everyone know. And until then, we say, Amen, 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 y punto. Have a beautiful day. We love you so much. See you tomorrow.
Have a